Hi everyone, Elliot Berrien here from Mobility Engineering, your resident road safety expert, back for another Q&A series question. Don't forget to hit our subscribe button that looks like this. Thanks Erica. So if you see a button down there that looks something like that, hit that. We want to get to about 1,000 subscribers if we can. And if you have any future questions, please send them through. We're happy to answer them. Today's question comes from one of our partner organisations, Automotive Superstore. Automotive Superstore is, we'll put a link down below. They're an online automotive parts and components retailer. They are one of Australia's fastest growing companies, but they are the fastest growing automotive parts retailer, online retailer around. Run by one of my good friends, Bobak. A bit of a shout out to you. Great work that they're doing there. And they're a great organisation with a good community focus. And that's why we're here today talking about the questions that they've raised and the things that they want us to clarify for their community as well as ours. So what they've talked about and they've asked us to comment on is a recent article in the Sydney Morning Herald, which we'll put a link down below as well, that talks about the confusion in the industry of child restraints. And as you guys know, we are very well versed in that industry, and we're doing a lot of talks and training all around the country in that industry. So they've asked us to give some comments on what we think about those ideas and the concepts and the stuff that was raised in the article, and also some tips on safety to help you guys out and get you safer and get your kids safer and making sure they're looked after. So we will talk about the child seats on the industry, and when we're talking about the laws, let's get straight into it because there is a bit of confusion about the laws and the seats, but it's there for a reason, and we'll explain sort of how that works. So the first thing is the laws are based on the age of the child. So what we've got is 0 to 6 months is for little babies, rearward facing, 6 months to 4 years is toddlers who are forward facing with inbuilt buckle and restraints, and 4 to 7 we've got boosters. Now the laws are based on the age, and one of the most common questions that I get is, well, how am I supposed to know my child's size and things like that? And, my child's bigger than average or smaller than average. What am I supposed to do? And that is okay. And that is normally the smaller percentage of people. So this age-based guideline, it does cover the absolute majority of the population. Something like more than 85% of the people and the population falls into that majority age bracket way of thinking. And the age bracket way of thinking is a much safer way, because what we found is in the past, we did have, it was all based on heights and weights, but what we found is a lot of parents do not know their kids' heights and weights. And so they were out on the road and confused and not knowing what to do. So what they did was they flipped the laws over to the age just to make it easier for the parents, but also for policing. But the other thing they did was they added guidelines on the seats which are based on your height, so they can cover your height anyway, and they can help you to make the right decisions. And I always say, don't even worry about the laws, don't even know what they are. Just go based on this. Just understand what this is. Then if you cover this, then you're covering the laws, you're covering the best practice for safety, and you're doing the best thing for your kid. And if you ever get pulled over by a police officer, they will also look at these guidelines and you'll be fine. So these guidelines, what they are, and they're on every single seat, and they've been around for at least 7 years now. So they are dotted shoulder line markers. So what that means is your child's shoulders need to lie between these two lines. So it says shoulders must be below this line, shoulders must be above this line. So if I'm thinking, is this the right seat for my child? Well, all I need to do is, or if I don't know the laws, just put the child in there. And if my child's shoulders are between those two lines, that's it. I'm done. I don't need to think about how old they are. I don't need to think about how much they weigh. All of that's being thought about and considered by these guys and the engineers that wrote this standard and designed the seat. So it makes it much easier for you. So rather than going into the depth of the laws, take a step back and keep it simple. Put your child in there. If they are within these two dotted lines, away we go. Now, in terms of getting information and getting the stuff fitted, also one of the most important things, so we're talking about sort of, one of the questions that comes up a fair bit is around the star ratings and safety ratings of seats. So there is a website which we will recommend, and I'll put a link down below. It's called childcarseats.com.au. It's launched by the New South Wales government with other governments sort of contributing towards it. And that's a great website. What it does is it gets baby seats and it tests them independently and gives them star ratings. So you can have a look at a 5-star seat, a 4-star seat, or a 3-star seat, and away you go. Now that's a fantastic resource, but one of the issues that we found is the customers get a bit stressed about getting the 5-star seat or the 4-star seat where they can't afford this seat or they can afford it, and it causes them a little bit of confusion. So I always say, take a step back, go and find a seat that, let's say, you like, or you look up the star ratings. But the star ratings are important, but don't make that your entire decision. Because if you can't afford something, well, not even afford, let's say using it. So let's say this seat, for argument's sake, was a 5-star rated seat. And I came to use it, but I had no idea how to use it because to me it was complicated. I didn't know how to fit it, I didn't know how to put my child in there. Well, it's no longer a 5-star seat anymore because I'm not using it the way it was supposed to be used. So you've got to think about that element more importantly than the star rating. Think about, do I know how to use it? Do I know how to fit it? If I don't, then that's not going to be the best seat for you. The best seat for you is the one that you know how to use and you can understand. And everyone's minds work a bit differently. So I might find this an easy seat, but you might go, oh, that's way too complicated for me. But you might find another seat easy, and you might find the one that I'm looking at that's, that might be difficult for me. So that's what we always say, is keep the mind open and have a look at the different seats, but make sure you can understand how to use them. And yeah, of course, look at those star ratings, and it's always best to go for the highest, but take it with a grain of salt and look at what you're doing as well, and make sure that you can actually understand and use that restraint as well. So those are a couple of little tips on that. And let's just see if they've got any other questions that they wanted us to cover as well. I think that's pretty much it. Other than that, basically, as long as they all meet Australian standards, you follow the laws, you look at these guidelines, you're going to be safe and you're going to be away happy and your child's going to be good. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks, Erica. Here is our subscribe pillow once again. Hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you very much to Automotive Superstore for sending your questions. And any other questions you've got on child safety, road safety, disability safety, send them through. We're happy to answer them, and thanks for tuning in.